There's a strange thing that happens when you start doing the work no one sees. You begin to change. Not in the loud, triumphant way people expect change to look. Not with applause. Not with Instagram captions or group chats lighting up with congratulations. No, it's quieter than that. It's in the hours when no one is watching, when the phone is off, when the world doesn't care. It's in the reps you put in after the motivation runs out. In the discipline that kicks in when the emotions die down. Discipline over performance is a concept that often gets overshadowed in the noise of our modern social media-driven world. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of being noticed, being celebrated, or showing the world how hard you're working. But this focus on performance, on the image of success, can sometimes lead us down the path of vanity rather than the path of real growth. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline isn't concerned with what people think or whether you're getting praise. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and making small, consistent improvements even when no one is watching. In today's world, we're often taught to chase after the external markers of success. We look to the Instagram influencers, the CEOs, the athletes, and the celebrities who have mastered the art of performance. These are the people who seem to effortlessly win, who seem to have it all, and whose every move is tracked and admired by thousands. But what's often missing from these portrayals is the hard, silent work that went into their success. We see the finish line, but not the long, exhausting hours of training, studying, or sacrificing they endured in silence. Performance, in this sense, can be a dangerous distraction. It convinces us that success is something we need to display, to show off, and to validate through public recognition. But discipline is different. Discipline is a quiet force. It doesn't require external validation. It doesn't need applause. It's a commitment you make to yourself to show up consistently, even when it's difficult, even when the results aren't immediate, and even when no one is there to cheer you on. The problem with performance as the ultimate goal is that it often involves chasing something external, a reward, an accolade, an acknowledgement. You may do the work, but you're doing it with the aim of being seen, being praised, or standing out. In contrast, discipline is about doing what needs to be done without any expectation of external reward. It's about committing to the process, not the outcome. When you focus on discipline, you start to detach from the need for validation. Your work becomes about personal growth, mastery, and consistency. You don't do the work to be noticed. You do it because it matters to you. The sense of accomplishment that comes from this kind of discipline is much deeper and longer lasting than the temporary high of public approval. It doesn't depend on whether you're getting likes, shares, or compliments. It depends only on whether you're following through, doing what needs to be done, and improving yourself each day. Think of it this way. Performance can often be driven by the desire for approval, but discipline is rooted in the desire for mastery. True discipline focuses on the long game. It's about making the decision to keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's the quiet persistence that allows you to weather the tough times, stay the course, and improve even when things aren't perfect. It's in the moments when no one is around, when no one is watching, that the real transformation occurs. Discipline requires a mindset shift. Instead of focusing on the outcome, on getting recognition, hitting milestones, or finishing projects, discipline encourages you to focus on the process itself. Discipline encourages you to focus on the process itself. It's about honing your craft, refining your skills, and committing to growth. You stop measuring your success by how many people notice your work and start measuring it by how well you execute it. When you focus on performance, you often focus on the external results. But when you focus on discipline, you focus on the internal satisfaction that comes with mastery. In any field, whether it's writing, business, sports, or anything else, those who become exceptional are the ones who prioritize discipline over performance. They aren't the ones who are constantly seeking applause or checking for praise. They're the ones who are quietly working behind the scenes, improving, tweaking, and refining their approach until they've mastered it. They do the work because it's the right thing to do, not because it's the thing that will get them the most attention. This concept doesn't mean that performance isn't important. It certainly is, especially when the work is shared with others. But what's more important is the foundation of discipline that allows performance to shine. Without the discipline to continue through failure, to persist through the hard days, and to do the right thing even when no one is looking, your performance will always lack depth. The truly exceptional are those who take the quiet steps in the shadows, who commit to the process even when the world is too busy looking for the next big thing. Discipline over performance is about focusing on the things that actually matter, the things that lead to lasting growth and deep satisfaction, the small incremental steps that add up over time, the personal commitment to do the right thing day after day, and the focus on mastering your craft regardless of who sees it. When you make discipline your priority, your performance becomes an authentic reflection of your hard work, your mastery, and your unshakable commitment to the process. The power of the unseen is a concept that can be difficult to grasp in a world that glorifies visibility. In a time where social media amplifies every accomplishment and every moment, it's easy to forget that real growth, real progress, often occurs in silence. The world is obsessed with the idea of being seen, of showing off what you've done, proving that you've worked hard, and seeking validation for every step you take. But the truth is, some of the most profound changes in your life will happen when no one is looking, when you're not concerned with the opinions of others, when there is no audience, no camera, no recognition. That's when the deepest work begins. We live in a culture that values instant gratification, where every victory must be publicized and every failure exposed. This constant demand for attention and validation creates an illusion that the process of growth must be externally rewarded. But the reality is different. True progress is often an invisible process. It's not something you can broadcast to the world every time you take a step forward. It's something that, for the most part, is only known to you, and that's exactly how it should be. In the quiet moments, when there are no accolades and no applause, you build your strength, you refine your skills, you adjust, correct, and improve. These moments of unseen work aren't glamorous, but they are the foundation for the results you will eventually show the world. The muscle that grows in the gym when no one's around to cheer you on, the hours spent honing your craft without any feedback, the solitary hours of study when the world seems to forget you, these are the moments that matter most. They form the bedrock of everything you will later be able to achieve. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of public approval. The external world constantly reinforces this need for recognition. Whether it's through social media likes, public praise, or awards, we are conditioned to seek validation from others. But when you constantly seek to be seen, you become vulnerable to the distractions and superficialities of those external rewards. These rewards, while they may feel good in the moment, are fleeting. They are not the true measure of your success. The true measure lies in what you do when no one is watching, when there's no one to praise you or criticize you. Growth in silence requires a different mindset. It's a mindset that allows you to separate your identity from the public's gaze. It's about doing what you know is right, even when no one else can see it. When you begin to embrace this idea, you start to realize that the most important progress is often the most private. It's the work you do to refine your character, your skills, your knowledge, that ultimately leads to the achievements that others will eventually notice. The most profound transformations are often hidden from view. This doesn't mean that you should shy away from sharing your work or seeking opportunities to display your success. There will be moments when sharing your achievements is important and even necessary. But the key is in maintaining the understanding that your true value does not come from the validation of others. It comes from the steady, often unseen effort you put into improving yourself day after day. When you stop relying on the opinions of others, you open yourself up to a deeper, more authentic kind of growth. In the silence, you learn resilience. You learn the ability to keep going even when you feel like no one is watching. This is the type of strength that forms true character. It's easy to be motivated when the world is cheering you on, but the real test comes when there's no one around to witness your struggle. The work that happens in these moments is what defines you. It's what allows you to grow into someone who is unshaken by the need for validation, someone who doesn't need the applause of others to continue forward. What's more, when you embrace the power of the unseen, you gain control over your own trajectory. You're no longer dependent on external forces to propel you forward. Instead, you become the sole driver of your progress. This internal drive, this self-motivation, is far more sustainable than relying on the fleeting support or attention of others. The satisfaction you get from your own progress becomes the fuel that keeps you moving. And over time, this leads to an undeniable level of mastery and authenticity in everything you do. It's important to realize that while the world may not see the quiet work you're putting in, it will eventually witness the results. The work done in silence is what creates the foundation for success that cannot be faked. It's the hours spent honing your craft when no one is looking, the sacrifices made behind closed doors, and the growth achieved when no one is there to praise you. This is the work that will eventually lead to your performance in the light, to the achievements that others will notice and admire. But even then, it will never be the performance that truly matters. It will always be the unseen effort that led to it. And when the spotlight does eventually shine on you, you won't be swayed by the temporary nature of praise. You will stand strong, knowing that the true value of your work lies not in the external validation, but in the quiet, consistent efforts that you made when no one was watching. In any pursuit, the results are what ultimately matter. What you accomplish, what you produce, what you create, these are the things that stand as tangible proof of your effort. However, far too often, people become obsessed with the process of gaining recognition, of proving their worth before they've truly earned it. In the digital age, the pressure to be noticed can lead people to focus too much on the external markers of success, the accolades, the awards, the praise, and the status. These things can distract you from what really matters. Instead of measuring your progress based on how much attention you're getting, the true measure of success lies in the results you produce, not how loudly you can announce them. The world is full of noise. From social media to professional environments, everyone is trying to get noticed, to stand out from the crowd. The pressure to perform publicly can be overwhelming. It's not enough to simply do the work. We're told we have to display it, shout it from the rooftops, and make sure everyone is aware of our efforts. But performance for the sake of performance without substance behind it is hollow. It's easy to become obsessed with showcasing every step of your journey, to share every small success with your followers or peers, and to look for affirmation that what you're doing matters. But this kind of behavior often becomes a trap, because it takes focus away from the real purpose of the work, the results. When you focus on the results, the end goal, the outcome, you direct your energy toward the only thing that will ultimately matter. The recognition, while nice, is secondary. It's fleeting and transitory. Praise from others doesn't truly measure your worth or the impact you've had. It only reflects a momentary approval from the outside world. What really matters is what you create, what you produce, and what you achieve when no one is looking, when the spotlight isn't shining on you, and when no one is handing you a trophy for your effort. The world, often unaware of the silent, unseen work you do, is primarily concerned with what you bring to the table, not how loudly you talk about the journey. Your performance, when it comes time to be witnessed, will speak volume. The results will speak for themselves. You can perform and announce all you want, but ultimately it's the work you've done, the growth you've achieved, and the value you've added that will speak louder than any words. The outcomes of your efforts will ultimately make it clear whether you've done the work or whether you've been more concerned with appearing to do the work. This focus on results rather than performance requires a shift in mindset. It means moving away from the need for immediate recognition or external validation. It requires you to trust that what you're doing matters, even when there is no one around to applaud it. It's about doing the work for the right reasons, not because you want to be seen, but because you know that mastering the process and putting in the effort will eventually lead to results that speak for themselves. This focus on producing rather than performing aligns your efforts with something deeper than the surface level rewards. When you focus solely on performance, it becomes about how things appear to others, about how much attention you can gather. But when your focus shifts to results, you prioritize creating something meaningful, building something of value that lasts. The end product, whatever that may be, becomes your true measure of success. You no longer need to convince anyone that you're doing the right thing because the results will show them. You don't need to post about every small win on social media or chase accolades in order to prove your worth. Your results will be your proof. One of the most powerful aspects of focusing on results is that it removes the dependency on external validation. When your focus is on the process, on doing the work, mastering your craft, improving your skill, you create a level of independence that comes from within. You don't rely on others to tell you that you're on the right path. Instead, you're driven by the intrinsic satisfaction of getting better and accomplishing something meaningful. Your growth is not tied to whether people notice or praise you for it, but to the quiet sense of pride and accomplishment you feel when you complete the work that matters. Results are not always immediate, and they don't always come in the form you expect. Success can take years, even decades, to materialize, but focusing on results gives you the patience and persistence to keep going, even when it feels like no one notices or acknowledges your efforts. It allows you to build over time, step by step, without getting distracted by the desire for instant recognition. This is how lasting success is built. It's not about the quick wins or the flashy moments of performance. It's about consistently showing up, doing the work, and allowing the results to eventually emerge on their own. Performance can be shallow, a reflection of fleeting moments. Results, however, are enduring. They don't need to be announced or showcased to have value. The power of focusing on results lies in the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing that your efforts, your persistence, and your dedication have led to something real, something tangible, something meaningful. This is the kind of success that cannot be faked. It's the kind of success that speaks for itself, and it's the kind of success that lasts.